My goodness, what a palaver that is. Honestly, trying to get this sound card connected. Let me just check if we're going live here. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Hello, my baby gorillas. Oh, my goodness. Hello, my baby gorillas. Oh, my goodness. Hello, my baby gorilla. Well, at least we're going live, but I'm being prevented from live streaming through the sound card, which is quite incredible. I tried to go through OBS, and OBS is not working. It's throwing all sorts of errors up, and oh my goodness, I reinstalled it, and it's still not working. So there's obviously something preventing me from live streaming. Put in the key again, reinstalled it again, and it's not doing any sort of sound through the actual card. So I'm obviously been prevented from in some way. But I mean, that's what they're doing. I mean, they're just trying to cancel anybody's voices, any dissenting voices, isn't it? That's what they want to do, just prevent the voices from being able to speak. So I reinstalled OBS, tried to actually live stream there, and got absolutely nothing, which is quite incredible, absolutely incredible. I thought I had the whole sound card and everything all set up. Everything looked like it was all set up there, and it's not been allowing me to live stream. So I'm not quite sure what the hell's going on. Quite incredible. I don't think I can bring you anything from the YouTube, and it's just stopping me from doing anything to being able to live stream. I mean, I just spent most of the day trying to actually get this thing sorted out, and it's not allowing me to do it. I've got to go live through my phone to bring you this recording, because through OBS, and they're now actually preventing me from giving you any information. Oh, unbelievable. I honestly, I think they do it deliberately, because it was working last night. It was working quite well last night, and now it's not working. Which I am absolutely staggered at. Absolutely staggered. But thinking I was all in the process of actually doing it. Hello from Suffolk. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, my friend. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to go a wee bit earlier. I was planning to go later, obviously, today. And thanks very much for your appreciation. I much appreciate your support, guys. You've been really absolutely terrific. And you can see all the issues that I'm actually having trying to contact OBS, and it seemed to be working last night, but obviously now it's not working. So having to do it in a different manner to actually bring you the live streams, because they are, I don't know what was happening. It was fine yesterday, and now all of a sudden the sound card's not working again, and I phoned them again, and now it's an issue. And trying to now to get a hold of OBS is an absolute nightmare. Getting through that Discord, I hate Discord with a passion, and having to leave in forums rather than actually having somebody to talk to, so that you can get somebody to tell you what's actually the underlying issue is. And when I'm connecting live through Facebook, through the computer, it's now throwing back to old videos, even when I'm directly connected through OBS directly to the live stream live through YouTube. So to say I'm frustrated is just an understatement. It is obvious that the powers that be want to silence any voices that are not on board, and that's what they're doing. That's what they want to do. They want to prevent anybody who doesn't agree with them to actually have an alternative opinion, and to give an alternative opinion. And they will do anything that they can, potentially, to smear or defame you if you've got anything else that out with the mainstream narrative. So let's read out and let's see what's happening here. The Alba Party, this is the National. So people are writing off the Alba Party after it's been formed for a week, because it had a poll saying that it was getting 3%. Alba Party membership surpasses Liberal Democrats. This is in the National by Xander Richards. Alba Party membership surpasses Liberal Democrats in just 1 week, says founder. The fledgling Alba Party now has more members than the Liberal Democrats, its founders has said. Laurie Flynn, who registered the Alba Party with the Electoral Commission in January, said that around 4,100 Scots have joined the party since Alex Salmond announced its Holyrood campaign in March 26. So this is now the 2nd of April, so that's only a number of days ago. Flynn said that this has put his party above the Liberal Democrats in terms of membership. According to figures from the end of 2018, there are 4,085 people in Willie Rennie's party. Wow. Yesterday, Salmond, that's a very small party then, the Liberal and Democrats. Yesterday, Salmond said he would be writing to Ofcom and television broadcasters to demand Alba's inclusion in the leaders' debate, a demand which is sure to have more weight given the party's membership. But I reckon they'll try and stop them speaking. I think they'll try and prevent them being on the actual leaders' board. They're just doing anything they can to silence people, I think, and which you can see by me struggling to even be able to broadcast. The former First Minister said our reasoning is that under a week ago we launched this party. The reason we will be writing to the electoral authorities and the broadcasters tomorrow is that I'm confident that at some point tomorrow the membership of the Alba Party will overtake overtake that of the Liberal Democrats, one of those who are regarded as mainstream political party. Now they were trying to write off the Alba Party because it had only had 3% of the vote in a week. So I would have said that that's pretty fast growth within a week, about like what we saw with the Brexit Party. However, I think that they will need at least 5 to 8% to actually get to a stage where they are actually going to return MSPs. So they've got a wee bit to go, but obviously there's still a good few weeks, probably about 4 or 5 weeks to go to actually find out if they can get enough votes to actually get people on the MSP electoral vote. So there's Count Dankula. I think Count Dankula's going live as well. Let's see if you can hear what he's saying as well in the background. But quite incredible. Let's see if we can get him up. I'll come back to that story in a second. Where are you, Mr. Dankula? So let's hear what he's saying in the background. He said that he stood for, he's standing on the regional list as well. So people in central Scotland can actually vote for Count Dankula as well.
Yes, that is actually one of the new types of videos that I'm going to be doing. But why not? Why the fuck not? $50 map list, which means that...
So here we go.
I'm interested to hear the rest of that story. Andrew Owens, who are you voting for in May? Not to dox, but which constituency and electoral region are you in? It's Motherwell and Wishaw.
So he's standing in the constituency list and on the regional list as well.
That doesn't know, I am in politics again. And the journalists have done... The journalists have done exactly what I thought they would do, and they're all screaming about Nazi pug again 5 years later.
So we covered a lot of that on the Twitter, on the Guerilla TV channel's Twitter, and we were the Daily Record, the same crowd. What they do is they try and do pylons and control the narrative by the media, who are in bed with the politicians, rather than the media holding our political class to account. Our media is now an appendage of the political class, and what they'll do is they will try and destroy anybody who they think is a threat to the political class, rather than them being objective about the political class, as you saw Peter Smith protecting Mr. Sawa from questioning by the Guerilla TV channel. They were not prepared to actually allow, the media were not prepared to allow me to question Mr. Sawa about rather distressing issues.
Like, Nazi Pug went the way of any other meme where it came in, it was funny for 2 weeks, and then that was it, the meme died. That's what happens with memes. They come in, they're funny for a couple of weeks, and then they die, and then they're gone. That's the way memes work. But these journalists are still screaming about this joke 5 years later. There was one that the Scotsman newspaper didn't even say anything about my candidacy. They just wrote a story about the Nazi pug joke again 5 years later. This headline was literally just Scottish YouTuber Count Dankula fined over Nazi pug video. Yeah, 5 years ago. They just didn't want to mention my candidacy at all. But for those that want to know, I am standing with the Scottish Libertarians. We've actually got a lot of candidates this year. I am on the Motherwell Wishaw constituency list, and I'm also on the regional list, which means that if you live in central Glasgow, you can still vote for me.
Well, that's good news. I'm glad that I was actually asking the guys if he was going to be on the regional list, which is pretty good news, the fact that he's in the constituency and on the regional list, so people in central Scotland and the Libertarians out there will be able to vote for him across central Scotland.
So that was the aim of the game. Like, we're not going to win, but that's not the point. It's just sort of get our foot.
Well, as I said, the Scottish Libertarian Party started with 12 votes. So that was 12 votes, and now they're going to get thousands in this new election in the regional list. So they're up, I think, to 2% with people's voting intentions. Same, I think the UK Reform Party is sitting at 3 or 4%. So these new parties are now starting to encroach on the mainstream politicians.
But here's the goal. Here's the goal of the election, right? See if we can get more votes than the Greens. Right? I'll be happy.
I think that might be a bit of a stretch, mind you. The Greens seem to be doing rather well just now.
As we can just get more votes than the Greens, I think it will be funny that a bunch of guys wearing Oakleys and Hawaiian shirts, right, managed to get more votes than the Green Party. Let's make it happen. Let's just at least get more votes than the Greens.
I don't think they could do any worse than the Greens.
Right, who am I voting for on May 6th? Scottish Libertarians. And if anybody wants to join, you can just Google up their website and you can do that too. Carrying Storm, here's fact.
Yeah, I'd like to see Tam Laird do an interview with Count Dankula, and Tam Laird to go on Unity News Network and do an interview on there as well. And I'd like to see him do an interview with and speak to the Lotus Eaters as well. Obviously, Carl Benjamin is a libertarian liberal. He calls it a classical liberal, but it's pretty much the same thing.
$5 because just take it. Why are you still reading? Fuck off. You're still reading. I don't get it. Go away. Thanks, man.
He's a nice fellow. A nice fellow. Sorry we're going to have to do it this way today, but really get mucked about on YouTube and OBS. So yeah, it's very interesting. I was that Sultan Harris video that I did as well, the mic was cutting in and out as well. So I mean, obviously we're being affected here. It was quite interesting what Sultan was saying the other day there. So I would go to Harris Sultan. I keep calling him Sultan because it's also a first name as well. But Harris Sultan, Mr. Sultan, is a great guy. Go and watch that video. That's very informative as well. Have a wee look at that. He's from Pakistan descent, but he's an atheist. But he's a really lovely fellow. So go and have a wee look at that as well. So let's go back to the Alba Party is now bigger than the illiberal, liberal, undemocratic Democrats. This is an important criteria on which the broadcasters judge the participation in debates and also the campaign coverage. Salmond, it would be great to see Georgie Porgy Galloway and Salmond on the stage, on the leadership stage as well. That would make things very interesting. Two political heavy hitters. And I think, although I think Alex Salmond, because effectively they're two cheeks of the same arse, but I think actually Alex Salmond walked out of the SNP conference because they said they wanted it to be more left wing, and a lot of the people who have joined Alex are on the left of the party as well. So that it looks like that's quite a left wing cabal as well within which is the new Alba party. So Salmond said that Alba inclusion would balance the debates. Well, you can imagine this is all a bunch of left wing, so we're getting a whole bunch of left wing, not even anything from the centre. I mean, the Tories, I don't even know whether you can class them as conservatives anymore, and the illiberal, liberal, undemocratic Democrats are just corporatist globalists, just the same as the Social Democrats and the Christian Democrats within the Conservative Party, and they seem quite sympathetic to the woke agenda, although they've been coming out with pretty much anti-woke things, especially this new report coming out the other day there. So this is an important criteria on which the broadcasters judge the participation in debates and also the campaign coverage. Salmond also said that Alba inclusion would balance the debates, including 3 yes and 3 no parties. Well, I would suggest that it really needs to balance the debates and have the Scottish Libertarian Party there, and I think we have to have other parties there, not just the same parties. I think we have to open up to all the parties so that we're getting a full gamut, not just the 3 main parties and the 3 yes and 3 no, the Lib Lab Con Party and the SNP and the Alba Party and the Greens. So I don't think that's balanced. I think that's all pretty much the same sort of crowd. And that's why they don't want anybody like myself who is a liberal, actual classical liberal, a libertarian liberal, to actually go and speak to them, because they don't want to engage in certain parts, libertarian parts of the political spectrum. Salmond also said Alba's inclusion would balance debates, including 3 yes and 3 no parties, and stressed that they now have double the Westminster parliamentary representation of the Scottish Labour Party, which is quite incredible for a party that's just over a week old, or about a week old. However, a poll released yesterday predicted that the Alba would struggle to return even a single MSP to Holyrood and win 3% on the list vote. Well, it's still very early. So, I mean, it's not, well, still, this is a party that's a week old that's got immediately 3%. So it depends on how they play it just now. Just like me, they're having sound issues as well, funnily enough. It just shows you how it's easy to stop people actually being corrected, prevent them from speaking on YouTube, not allowing them to, the OBS and whatever it is that's working, to prevent them from actually speaking and prevent them from actually having a voice. The Lib Dem, in contrast, were predicted to win 7 seats with 8% of the list vote. So they're only 5% off. So the Alba Party, a week old, are 5% off getting potentially 7 seats on the list vote. Same with the Scottish Libertarian Party, same with the UK Reform Party. So these are new parties. If they get 8% of the vote, then they're up to 7 seats, which would make Scottish politics a hell of a lot more interesting than the usual culprits just getting voted in. So I would definitely vote for the Scottish Libertarian Party or the UK Reform Party, depending on whether you're a unionist. Obviously, the UK Reform Party are a unionist party and the Scottish Libertarian are a nationalist party who want to be outside the EU. So a lot of the people in the SNP who are actually want to be outside the EU, the Scottish Libertarian Party is a better political fit for you. Nicola Sturgeon today said that she can't see that Alba meets the necessary criteria to be included in the television debates. Well, they've already got MPs, So if they've already got MPs, then I would suggest that they have a validity of actually having the right to actually be included. They've got 2 or 3 MPs. So I would suggest that they do have the validity. She said, looking at it objectively in terms, the conditions I understand that have to be met, I can't see Salmon's party meets these conditions. Well, this is meant to be a democracy, so everybody should have the right to say, even if they're not elected, how do we get fresh ideas if you restrict the debate to the people who are already on the stage? And then that prevents any new parties coming forward and increasing and improving the actual differentiation on ideas that are coming forward. Because I know that for me, the 5 parties that are represented just now in the Scottish Parliament are tired of ideas. And what they do is they use the media to restrict debate, and they don't allow that to actually new parties to bring in new ideas, and for that to change the actual whole political spectrum. They want to contract. These are corporatists, these are globalists, and they want to contract the debate, use the media as their battering ram, just like the Crown Office, to batter the people into submission. And that's why you should vote for other people, vote for other parties. And after exactly 1 week since our public launch, our membership has surged past the Liberal Democrats, a party which has been in existence for 150 years. The Scottish Liberal Party was founded in 1859, merged into the Liberal Democrats with the Social Democrats, although there's now a Social Democratic Party as well in Scotland, which makes it all very confusing. I don't know if the Social Democrats are in the Tony Blair mould, or if they're Libertarian Social Democrats, which put them in a different, closer to me on the political spectrum. And they might as well just join this new party that's just about to be set up. So, I mean, quite incredible, quite incredible. So, oh, here's Nicola Sturgeon getting absolutely roasted by Alex Salmond, and this is why Nicola Sturgeon is not competent, because if you base her on what she's actually done, then she's not competent.
2 of your 8 waiting time targets being hit. You've been in for a long while. You haven't hit the A&E target since 2017. The 2-month cancer target you haven't hit since 2013. Children are dying in a new Glasgow hospital because the water's contaminated, perhaps by pigeon droppings. A new multi-million-pound Edinburgh hospital, should have opened in 2012, is still unfit to open. You can't even get the ventilation system to work. You've got the worst drug addiction problem in Europe, but you cut drug treatment budgets by 15 million. You clung on to your last health minister. You're under pressure now to sack a successor. I mean, you've called for legislation to protect the NHS from Donald Trump. Maybe the NHS needs legislation to protect it from Nicola Sturgeon.
Wow, it's an incredible thing. And there's this lady talking about the lockdown and the ending of lockdown. I wish I could get her up on the screen as well. She's absolutely fantastic. So let's see what she's saying.
And I'm just going to go through a few of the things as to why I feel the way that I do, and why people should look into why us conspiracy theorists are thinking the way that we are. So the first cut I'm going to make in this awful mask is around the censorship that is going on at the moment. Perfectly qualified people are being censored, and there's absolutely no reason for that. They are perfectly qualified to speak in the way that they are, yet they're being deplatformed. The next one I'm going to make. So
yeah, you've seen being deplatformed. I've had to use my phone rather than actually use a system that I've spent a lot of money on to actually be able to live stream to you. The connection between OBS and YouTube isn't working. Evening, Davey. How you doing, buddy? Hi, Paul. So the connection between OBS and YouTube Live is not working. The sound through OBS is not working. It looks like it's working on the actual system up to the point of actually through OBS. And I can't connect now to live stream through OBS just now either. So it just shows you how they can prevent things from actually happening. We've got the Daily Record. ISIS bride blows up baby in suicide attack during deadly army shootout. This is in the Star. And this was Kirsty Card on the 2nd of April 2021. Tunisian authorities say a suspected jihadi bride blew herself up and her own baby during counter-terrorist operations as security forces closed in on a known hideout. An ISIS terrorist mum reportedly blew herself and her baby up and security forces closed in on other hideouts. The suspected jihadi bride detonated an explosive belt after forces killed her husband during counter-terrorism operations in the mountainous province of Tunisia. Security forces claimed Tunisian squads were tracking an extremist group in the mountains of Salom area of Kasserine province when they killed the suspected jihadi. Oh my goodness. His wife then blew herself up by activating a suicide vest, the Interior Ministry has said in a statement. Reports say the explosives killed her baby that she was holding in her arms when she set off her explosives. Her daughter at the scene is believed to have survived. Well, thank goodness for that. Authorities said it was the first time I can't believe that. Her older daughter at the scene is believed to have survived. Authorities said it was the first time that doesn't make any sense. Authorities said that the first time a woman has been reportedly among the jihadists taking refuge in the area. Ministry said Thursday night, 1st of March, security forces killed a suspected leader of Tunisia's Jun al-Khalif Brigade in the second operation around the mountain of Mugilla area. The brigade that pledged allegiance to Islamic State group is believed to be behind several attacks in Tunisia. The news comes as experts issue warning claims Africa is becoming the new front line. I think there's other places in Africa that the ISIS are now, I think it's Tanzania off the top of my head, that they're now affecting actual war against different things. I think there's a pipeline and they're actually trying to blow up a pipeline. The news comes as experts issue warnings claiming Africa is becoming a new front line in the war against ISIS in the wake of the Mozambique bloodbath, where they killed a lot of people. The latest attack on foreign contractors attempting, this is in Mozambique, to flee the town of Palma after coming under attack, left 50 people dead, with Brit Phil Mayer among those missing. At least 13 countries in Africa and the African continent experienced ISIS attacks in recent times. French expert on jihad Oliver Guetta from the Global Risk, they're already threatening to chop people's heads off and down south in England now if they've blasphemed against the Prophet. No support from the unions, no real support from the government. They seem to have allowed that to happen, so you can't trust the Tories. At the end of last year, the Pentagon warned ISIS is taking over areas of Africa as they did in Syria and Iraq with staggering brutal tactics. Hi all, hi there, hi Jimmy, how you doing? ISIS-linked jihadis have been beheading their prisoners after taking women as sex slaves. Obviously, I've already covered that. That's what I was bringing up to Mr. Sarwar. In the Quran, it says to take them as sex slaves. So that's what they do to non-Muslims, take them as sex slaves and then sell them as sex slaves in Mozambique's forest. So that was a nice wee cheery number there. So there's Count Dankula. You've been temporary banned. So Count Dankula's been temporary banned. I think it's in Reddit. Subreddit, yeah, it's in Reddit. You've been temporarily banned from participating in R Scotland. The ban will last 7 days. You will still view and subscribe to R Scotland, but you won't be able to post comments. So we already know that that we're being banned. One of the reasons I probably can't live stream, have to live stream through a different manner, is because they're trying to silence any dissenting voices. You should be very concerned about this. This is we're on the road to authoritarianism. And you should be very concerned. The Scotland that we had of a liberal democracy and liberalism is under threat. And they're quite happy to silence you or silence anybody who they disagree with. And if you don't stand up, you will get totalitarianism. Obviously, Islam is theocratically fascist as well. Well, certainly theocratically totalitarian in its doctrine, in its actual, if you read the Quran, politics is interlinked into the Quran and the Hadith and the Sunnah. So it is a political ideology as well as a religion. Well done for getting all your little minions permabanned. If you have questions regarding your ban, you can contact the moderator team at R Scotland by replying to this message. So Count Dankula is permabanned. So what they're trying to do is obviously close down any sort of different sort of debate. So it was quite interesting as well what Count Dankula was saying. Let me get Count Dankula back up. What he was saying about history. He had applied. So this is how fly they are. He got found guilty of the Nazi pug video in the sheriff court, and then he had to appeal it to the High Court, who rejected it, and then to the Supreme Court, who rejected it as well. So obviously our judicial system is rejecting any claims against freedom of speech or any siding with freedom of speech. They're obviously siding with the totalitarians. So Count Dankula got about 190 odd grand for taking his case forward. So I'll need to find this so we can actually hear him what he's saying.
Corey Herman, can you tell I've been super reason as to why you want this? I was caught drinking in the Samurai Jack in the country that I don't know, lads that, and again, 2 would able camps alongside you, 59 pence doing them. I can never, so I've got premium
you're fly till you can walk on the ceiling. Yeah, you're on the fly till you can walk on the ceiling. That's it, buddy.
He hunted down Nazis that had his YouTuber Count Dankula. I was only half tuned in. Obviously, the same day as I finally paid my Warcraft figure. You know what? I'm going to open up. I wouldn't cross the border. They're all screaming about Nazi pug video. Yeah, 5 years. I'll be happy to do metal band and then Boris Johnson for that fun. So yeah, Corey Herman, but it's like an AR. You can maybe no case. They won't even consider it.
Here we go.
Ever, by the way, it's not 2 kids, a son, a daughter. $200. Jesus Christ.
That's that, I think.
Kids will bring out the most extreme of your emotions, the best and the worst thing ever, by the way. It's not even a little baby fart. Like, I haven't made a public statement on this yet because I want all the facts first, but
so that's
I'll give a
Count
basic
Dankula.
rundown. The European Court won't accept your case. They won't even consider it until you have tried every possible measure in your own country. So for me, that was the Sheriff Court, the High Court, the Supreme Court. The Sheriff Court reviewed our case and then rejected to hear it. The High Court was just a straight rejection. They wouldn't even review it at all. And then the Supreme Court was also an outright rejection. They wouldn't even review it at all. But with the European Court, you only have so much time after your last sort of appeal in your home country. I think it's 8 or 9 months or something like that. You have to file it within 9 months of your last appeal attempt in the country that you're from. The problem was we get rejected because we get rejected from the European Court because we were outside of the time limit. But this is where a total catch-22 situation comes in. The European Court considers our last official appeal to be the Sheriff Court, which was the first place we applied for, which was ages ago. It was a long time ago and well out with the limit. But we thought since we applied to the Supreme Court, that was well within the time limit. But see, because the Supreme Court was an outright rejection, as was the High Court, none of them count. None of them counted, so it's considered as the Sheriff Court, and we were rejected because of that. But the problem was...
This is our justice system. This is how bad it is with our justice system.
Actually, reviewed my case in the first place. If we hadn't done the High Court and Supreme Court and used up all that time. So basically, it was a case of I was fucked no matter what I did. I was completely fucked no matter what I did. It was a total catch-22 situation, but I'm waiting. I'm going to make a video on it. It's just I want all of the facts. I want everything, every bit of possible information before I make a video. So yeah, that's why I've not made a video on it, but I was fucked. I was fucked no matter what I did.
So our political class is infiltrated, well not infiltrated, but used the judiciary to prevent freedom of speech. That's basically what we're taking from this.
Literally, see before the handcuffs were even placed on me, the outcome of this was decided. Like, every single avenue I went down in Britain, like, I was fucked. It almost kind of feels that...
And it may be him today, but it may be you tomorrow. So this is the difficulty. If you're still voting for the Lib Lab Con Party, the SNP, the Greens, this is what you're getting. This is what you will get. And although it happened to him, there is no way it's not going to happen to you if you're still voting for them.
There was someone up there that really wanted this precedent set. Strange.
Nicola Sturgeon.
Carter, just a super chat. Kevin Kim, don't know if you smoke weed, but I got
So, I mean, he raised, I think it was, well, he's got it down here, 186,000 pounds. So that was quite interesting as well. So what's the Scottish Libertarian Party saying? Scottish Libertarian Party. Well, I think what I'll do is also go through the manifestos and do a breakdown of each of the manifestos. I think there's about 20 parties, so it'll be like Seven Lords are leaping on the countdown to the actual the election. I think it's on the 4th of May. The Scottish Libertarian Party has once again reached another unprecedented landmark on the 6th of May 2021, the first time in Scottish history. Every member of the electorate will have an opportunity to vote for a Libertarian candidate, whether in constituency, region or both. The party leadership, together with our activists and candidates, have worked hard to make this happen. And I extend my congratulations and thanks to all. This is from Tam Laird. In of itself, this is monumental, but we have an opportunity to do more. With your help, we can make an impact. Please make sure you are registered to vote, share the news online and by word of mouth, and encourage people to search out our website and manifesto, find out who your candidate is, and offer support by way of donations, delivering leaflets, and finally by casting your vote. We all know, and also you've got to have so many people signing so that you're actually allowed to be put forward as a candidate. So you need so many people in the constituency to put you forward as a candidate as well. We all know government is cancer, which is a good terminology. We certainly know that our own political class are not very good anyway, let's put it that way. But this will not go away by simply ignoring it. Yeah, you need to go out and vote. My friend says, I don't vote for anybody. Well, how do you expect anything to change? You need to be proactive in your own change. And the change must be to move away from the 5 parties that are in the Scottish Parliament just now. That must be the change. We all know that the government is cancer, but it will not go away by simply ignoring it. If our people are not there throwing a spanner in the works, then it will continue to tax you and make illiberal legislation that it will force you to comply with. The SLP are proud to announce our candidates in the following constituency regions. So there's one's the constituency, so this is the constituency first past the post. So in Aberdeen South and North Kincardine, Stephen Jameson, Caithness, Sutherland and Ross, Harry Christian, Dumbarton, Jonathan Rainey, Edinburgh Central, Tam Laird, Edinburgh Western, Daniel Fraser, Glasgow Pollock, Alan Finlay, who was the former leader, Kirkcaldy, Kaz Paul, Kilmarnock and Irvine Valley, Steph Johnston, and Motherwell and Wishaw, Mark Meechan. So on the regional list here, we have Glasgow, Alan Finlay, Cameron Millen. Central Scotland is Mark Meechan. So Mark is first. So if enough people vote in the regional list for the Scottish Libertarian Party, Count Dankula could, this is in order, he would be the first person to actually get elected for the Scottish Libertarian Party. So people throughout Glasgow can vote in the regional list, and if enough people in Glasgow and the surrounding area, in Central Scotland area, vote for vote for the Scottish Libertarian Party in the actual regional list, then Count Dankula will be in the Scottish Parliament. So I would definitely, if you're in West Scotland, vote for the Scottish Libertarian Party, especially in the regional list. Highland Islands, Harry Christians, Callum Liptrot. So Lothian, it's Tam Laird. Cameron Peterson. Midlothian, it's Kaz Paul, George Morton. North East Scotland is Bryce Hope. Southern Scotland is Steph Johnston. West of Scotland is Jonathan Rainey. So that's they've got a full slate there virtually. There's me running it apart. So they've got a full slate there, which is going to be very, very interesting. To see how many votes they get. I'm expecting to get a good number of thousand as well, especially with the Count Dankula episodes as well, and his inclusion. It certainly made a lot of headlines. Some say potentially for the wrong reasons, but to be honest with you, I see it more as a media problem and a problem with our media than anything else. So go onto the Scottish Libertarian website and have a look at them, have a look what they stand for. So what's, I think they were talking about the...
was a Nazi. But Leroy, what you're suggesting is that an officer
This is
might
Talk
have
Radio.
known this man was a Nazi and just ignored it.
There might be that. I can't discount the possibility that certain people heard or knew of him and so, oh, it's just.
I mean,
they
wouldn't
So
put that in
this officer was in National Action. So, which is, I think, and he left National Action to set up another subgroup. So I don't know if what this is.
line of duty, would they?
Well, no, not intentionally, but that's the thing at the moment. We're saying this passiveness can be part of complicity. Your silence can be part of complicity. You need to be proactive. And if you find that there are colleagues who have some questionable thoughts and ideas and ways in which they play out their power with their prejudices, which is conscious racism, then you need to call them out. And there is this unspoken word that you don't grass on your mates and you don't... Yeah,
I don't know if National Action are a National Socialist organisation. I don't know that, but that's the sort of perception that's put out about National Action. Until I actually speak to somebody, I don't prejudge them politically. I don't just say, like the papers did, that I was far right. Oh, that guy's far right, when I'm a libertarian liberal, I'm a centrist. And I don't just throw accusations about where people are. But I think in this circumstance, they may be close to the bone. But I still don't presume. And don't forget, as we discussed with the tick video, the National Socialism and Fascism is an authoritarian left. So we would have to find out where the national action is, and only by talking to somebody, and somebody who understands politics would be able to actually find out what the underlying ideology is. It certainly looked like there were some sort of National Socialist undertones to it.
You know, do your colleagues' legs, but we got to understand that we got to root this out, not only strategically and through the vetting process, but it has to be officers who are saying, well, enough's enough, and we can't allow this to make the culture more toxic.
But I mean, you could do the same with Black Lives Matter, who are a Marxist organisation. I mean, Marxism has killed 100 million people as well. So none of these are ideologies. So I don't know where you're going to draw the line. Would somebody describing me as far right, which was untrue, allow me to be disbarred? So this is all the things where, these are the things when you're starting to say that this person is unacceptable. And people's ideals change over time as well. They don't sometimes always stay, sometimes they're more extreme when they're younger, and sometimes they soften. So this is another great interview with Nicola Sturgeon.
What would you say was the defining mission of your last term in government?
It became to lead the country through a global pandemic. That will be the primary mission if we're re-elected at this election.
But over the whole government, what was your defining mission?
To make Scotland a better place to live.
To 5 years ago you said it was education.
What's as far right in your eyes? Well, if you're talking about from a political point of view, far right would be anarcho, and on the libertarian right, it would be anarcho-capitalist, anarchist capitalists, or the farthest right on the libertarian right, and then you would have to go to some sort of authoritarian capitalist. I've not seen anybody who does the political compass and has ended up on the extreme far right of the political spectrum. Let me just check what far right, but I think anything from maybe the centre of the libertarian part and the authoritarian part that go down the last third of the political spectrum would be far right, as what they actually what they mean by far right, but it's not what they mean. They're not using the word far right to actually mean it in the proper political science sense. They're just saying far right to discredit the person. As I said, the Nazis and the fascists were far left. They weren't centrist and they weren't on the far right. The National Socialists and the fascists were in the authoritarian left. But if you were a communist, you see everything as far right. So everything for a communist is far right. Even me being a centrist libertarian, I'm far right if you're a communist. So it depends on where you stand on the political spectrum. Hold on, So they're talking about classical studies, criminology, economy and business. So the last third of the last quarter of the political compass would be what would be far right. Like there is a better breakdown. Let me just see if I can get this. Here it is. So the far right would be fundamentalism, ultra-capitalism, libertarian capitalism. I don't think libertarian capitalism would be described. Ultra-anarchism, anarcho-capitalism, anarchism. Did you hear the police have been at Sturgeon's door today because of missing Indie money? No, so true. They are so far left every day. Oh, I missed the last of that. Yeah. So but the thing that they think is far right isn't far right. They just class everything because they're on the far left. Everything to them's far right. So being a centrist is far right if you're on the far left. So if you were on the far right, everything would be far left if you were doing the reverse. But there's not a lot of probably ultra-nationalism, authoritarian nationalism, even towards ethno-nationalism and capitalism. I get called far right for sticking up for the UK. Exactly. They're not using far right in the correct political terminology. They're just using far right as a smear against you because they've got their globalist ambitions. It's the globalists who are calling everybody far right that doesn't fit into what they want on the globalist ambitions. Fife. Marcia, what are you saying about Fife? Fife, who's standing in Fife? Kaz Paul, who's a nice guy. So, the far right would be authoritarian. Maybe it can be nationalist or ethno-nationalist as well. But ethno-nationalism and nationalism is found in all four parts of the political compass. It's the nationalism and even ethno-nationalism, a subset of nationalism, is not left or right wing. It might be left or right within each of the political compass. You could be a globalist or a nationalist in each part of the political compass. It's not a left or right ideology. What does make it left or right is going from socialism to capitalism. That's the left and right, and from authoritarianism down to libertarianism. So that's how you define left and right. The actual parts of nationalism and globalism is found within each four parts of the political spectrum. Barred off Facebook for the last 3 years for my views. So if everybody, they've took down both my Facebooks, didn't return my photographs, just stole my information, didn't return my photographs, because obviously, again, the same way that Silicon Valley are working things. So we're going to have to obviously have issues with Silicon Valley as the new political parties develop. They have to be held account. They're doing business in our country, so they have to be held accountable to our rules. I'm not accountable to California's rules. They're doing business here. If they want to do business here, they'll have to be held accountable. Police are investigating the missing 600,000. They can't even find the lost 9 billion. Good luck with that one. Of course. That's very interesting, isn't it? So there's now £600,000 just disappeared, and Nicola Sturgeon's husband didn't want to have 3 people get kicked off the committee, and didn't want to audit the books and the SNP. So again, these are the people that are in power. These are the people that you're voting for. If you didn't vote for them, these people wouldn't be in power. And the carrot of nationalism and independence, which I know that is the prime motivation for voting for the SNP, they don't produce it anyway. So I guarantee you will still be in the union with the rest of the UK under Nicola Sturgeon in another 4 years. Nicola Sturgeon's only interested in Nicola Sturgeon. So back to what you were asking me, what's the far right? So ultra-anarchism, anarcho-capitalism, anarchism. They say libertarian capitalism, but that would have to be an extreme form of libertarian capitalism. Ultra-capitalism, fundamentalism, traditionalism, and authoritarian potentially nationalism, or I don't know how you get up the top right in the political compass to be extreme right authoritarian. I don't know what questions you would have to answer to be actually in that sort of situation, that sector. So, quite interesting with that as well. Islamic terror gang left to radicalise prison inmates. Convicted Islamic terrorists are radicalising other prisoners in high security jails. They should look at Hamilton bank account for the missing money. They should look at Hamilton bank account. There have been 27,000 missing kids over Scotland over 3 years, but there's no grooming gangs in Scotland, my arse. Yeah, well, I did my best to try and highlight the issue. You saw that, I got it in the chin. Obviously, they tried to smear me all over the place. You saw that, and I was just asking normal questions. The media were protecting the politicians. The media were protecting the politicians. That's how objective our media is just now. I'm the only objective media here. Because the institutional failure to segregate them, a study by leading UK counter, I see you're swiftly ignoring my comment. Wonder why? What comment? I didn't see your comment. Put your comment back up. Put your comment back up. Let me see. I'll see if I can do it this way. I don't not answer comments. I don't delete your comments. I don't not answer. do you think all Catholics should answer for paedophile priests? No, I don't think all Catholics should answer for paedophile priests. If not, why should Anna Sawar answer for child grooming for Muslims? Because it says in the Quran, I don't think you can show me in the Bible that tells paedophile Catholic priests to conduct sexual assault and rape on children. If you can, then that's a problem. That's an issue. So you're not seeing that my last. You're not seeing. I've seen it now. I've seen it. I opened up in a different way. I was using it off the phone, but now I can see it. So it promotes sexual abuse of children. Just now, you weren't obviously listening. Keltyville, that there actually hope she gets done. Sturgeon with highly unlikely. It's so corrupt. Islam promotes child rape. So that's the difference. It promotes sexual slavery. It promotes the raping of non-Muslims. This is what I've already tried to say to you. You should go back on my channel and watch the thing. Harris Sultan is a great guy. And then you can see what's happening in Pakistan. It's intrinsic to the religion. It's not a few bad apples doing this. It's done deliberately, and people know that that's within the religion. Whereas Catholic priests are abusing children. It's in the Catholic Herald. That's not a secret. It happened in Scotland and all over the world. But that is not promoted in Christianity, as far as I'm aware. I'm not a Christian, but you can enlighten me if that is part of Christianity to abuse Catholic priests. It is part of Islam to have sex slaves and have sex with children, which is why if you go back and look at the one I did, I've broken this down for you so that you can actually understand this, and I've broken it down why my questions were they were to Sawar. If you go back on my Guerilla TV YouTube channel, discussing child protection rights is now racist. I've actually broken it down for you, question by question, and given you sources of mainstream periodicals to actually show you why I asked Sarwar the questions they did, and the fact that in Pakistan, because of the Quran, it's okay to have sex with children. So go back and look at Harris Sultan is a great guy, and discussing child protection rights is now racist, and then that'll answer your questions. So I hope that I answered that. I don't back away from, if you want someone to ask me something, I'll answer it and I'll try and explain it to you. So that's why I said it there. So just like, say for instance, let me take the word Muslim out, because obviously you find that contentious. Say Sarwar said he was a Nazi, right? And you went up to me and said, and we didn't know anything about National Socialism at the time. And you went up and said, I said, listen, there seems to be a problem with Jewish people, and they seem to be getting abused in Germany. And you came on and said, why are you saying that about Sarwar? Sarwar's got nothing to do with it. But it's his political ideology that's allowing and facilitating that to happen. He might not be the person abusing it. He might not be the person who gassed the Jews. But the fact is that he follows an ideology that actually allows that to happen. And I've not heard Sarwar come out and complain about the grooming gangs all over the UK either. So he's not come out and said anything. I've not heard him say about the 6 people that were stabbed in Glasgow, Chris Donald getting murdered. Although Sarwar family was involved in the the taking out of Pakistan, the Pakistani guys who took Chris Donald on a 2-hour trip, stabbed him, cut off his penis. Same thing that happened in the Barbican, which was covered up in the media as well. They were actually castrating men in the actual theatre before obviously they get shot. They didn't tell you that, and what they were actually torturing the people in the Barbican, and they didn't actually say that. And they said that's what they did to Chris Donald before setting him on fire as well. We've already seen a terrorist attack in Glasgow. We've now seen the unions actually funding the Islamic charity that released the teachers, doxed the teacher who was involved in showing the cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad, the union who didn't say anything about this and didn't back up the person who was being persecuted by this group, which was in the curricula to actually allow this to be shown to the children, the national curriculum. They were showing this to be the children, not the Conservatives, not the teachers' unions. Nobody backed this guy up. He's standing as a member of the Scottish Parliament. Child grooming is an issue in Scotland. Why shouldn't he be asked the question? And obviously he's a Muslim, and all these people who were doing it were Muslims. Two children who were in care homes in Scotland. And this has not been addressed by any other political party. So all the 5 parties have been kept their mouth closed on it. And they were trying to keep it secret. That's why I had put up the thing in the Sun. It showed you the article. I didn't just make this up. I didn't just think, oh, I don't like Muslims, I'm going to make things up. These were all documented in periodicals. The things I was saying was already, and I probably didn't express myself very well because it was rushed. But the fact was that these were all documented in periodicals, in UK press, in the mainstream UK press. Nothing far right about it. BBC, the Independent, not exactly a far right organisation, the Sun and the Express. And these were all articles that I were actually already said. I think one was from, I think it was Forbes off the top of my head. But these were all articles from mainstream publications that I was asking him, and nobody else covered it. And why would you not actually speak about the abuse of children in Scotland? If it was Catholic children who are being abused, I would speak about it on their behalf as well. Guys, I found the missing 600,000. Dundee MP Chris Law used it to buy a castle with marching Aston Martin. Bonker. Oh man, wow, just wow. So, a knock on the door for the missing 600 grand. Well, I mean that's quite interesting. And I mean, I don't know if there's still a perverting the course of justice thing out as well. The Scottish Government has been playing victims hush money not to talk about their stories. And also, I know there was a child raped by older boys. Now, I don't know if these are, they kept it quiet. I don't know if these were people who had emigrated here. But Hamza Yusuf said, oh, I'll go and I'll write the boy a letter to apologise to him. After this child was raped, there was 2 children raped. Male children sodomised, and they'll write a letter. Hamza Yusuf will write a letter. Oh, I'm sure that would have been fine after that. Sure, that would have been absolutely unbelievable. So I don't know if these are asylum seekers as well. There was no information on if these were other children who'd been brought here. There was no sign of that. I don't know if there were Scottish children who raped the 2 children, but it was quite coincidental, and obviously Sawa tried to cover that up as well. But yeah, they would throw Alex Salmon to the wall and throw the troll for victims for Alex Salmon's situation. And we already know this. Oh, unbelievable. Unbelievable. These are not good people that you're voting for. These are not good people. You should be campaigning actively against these people, actively against them. The fact that these people are in Parliament and in power is absolutely repugnant. She's not even doing a good job. I mean, thing we slaughtered her. So let's go back to the radicalisation prisons. Elish O'Gara, a former counter-terrorist analyst, agreed. We need independence from the SNP. Said the collapse of separation centres. Derek Mackay would have texted the lads rather than a letter. Oh, it's not funny to laugh at that. But look, I tried, but got shut down. That's it. You just keep trying. Don't let them shut you down. This isn't their country just to do what they want, these authoritarians. Don't ever give in. Don't ever give in. Remember Robert the Bruce, never give in. So, yeah, I mean, quite incredible that these people this has been allowed to happen. Said the collapse of separation centres designed to hold the terrorists have left them free to form gangs that have radicalised other prisoners, including new converts. Oh, that's great, that is. She warned the 3 separation centres set up in 2017 in high security when Derek Mackay joined the Sleepy Cuddle Party. Terrorist has been largely unused. Shabba, it's what they're trying to do. They shut people who see them for what they are. She warned the 3 separation centres set up in 2017 in the high security jails to hold 28 of the most dangerous terrorists have been largely unused. Oh, well, that's great, isn't it? Just more incompetence. Understaffed and dangerously underpopulated. 2 have been closed and only 1 operates in holding 5 terrorists as of last month. That comprises just 2% of the 202 plus TAC terrorist offenders in jail in England and Wales, according to the study publicised by Henry Jackson Society. Institutional failures to remove dangerous TAC offenders from general population has resulted in the emergence of hierarchical gangs across many of the high security prison estates. What I was watching, what's his face? Who's the bald guy that looks like the hitman, who's in Arizona jail? And he was talking to a guy that was in the Manchester Crips, and he was saying that he was talking about it was race-based in Arizona, and it's actually religiously based in the UK, where black guys, white guys who are Christian or atheists are obviously opposed to the Islamic guys in here. So that's, I've never been to jail, so that's what they're actually saying from people who are in jail. Has reacted to the emergence of a hierarchical gang across many of the high security prison estates. And Miss O'Grady, over the years, these Islamic hierarchies have facilitated an increased radicalisation of both TAC and non-TAC offenders through manipulation, control and intimidation. Miss O'Grady, now a counter-terrorist research fellow at the Henry Jackson Society, said that last 5 terror attacks in the UK have been violent criminals radicalised in jail or by extremists jailed for sharing terrorist material, but further radicalised in prison. They include Carrie Shadal, who spent time with well-known Islamists in jail before killing 3 men in the Reading Park. Oh, well, that's nice. Miss O'Grady and said the Islamist gang were hierarchical and often led by a terrorist who had elevated status in jail and whose manipulative personality overwhelmed others into compliance. The next tier in the recruiters who targeted vulnerable prisoners, below them are enforcers who exert influence. They will never defeat the free-thinking people of the UK. Well, I wouldn't be too sure if they start killing us and there's no ability of self-defence. What are you going to do? She warned, and this has been deliberately done by our political class, so let's not kid on. She warned that the current approach of dispersing them in prisons had done little to discourage jihadism. I would say they need to be concentrated. Years of interaction have led them to an increase in radicalisation, which has undoubtedly led to the deaths of citizens as a result of lax procedures surrounding prison releases, she wrote. That's great, that's good. Good to see they're doing their job then. North Korea, levels of support among children. So obviously indoctrination of your children by the SNP. After more than a decade at the top in Holyrood, 70% of 16 to 24s favour the SNP remarkably. Sharia law will be banned in all the UK. Well, we'll have to wait and see about that. So, Reform UK launches an economic plan. I listened to Tim Rice the other day there, and I think he's sitting about 9% on the by-election that's happening down Hartlepool. So that'll be quite interesting to see if he's successful down there. Reform launches an economic plan. So I'm not going to read that, Margaret. I might go through that once I can get the bloody computer working. Two more teachers suspended at Bateley Grammar. So they're basically throwing the teachers to the wolves rather than dealing with the underlying Islamist problem. The battle against the left ideology of radical victimhood has only just begun. I would suggest also there's a problem with Islamism. This is interesting. I quite like this. Quite like her. So Sira Khan, who is of I think of Pakistani background as well. She's in a mixed marriage to a British guy, mixed ethnic marriage, not race. I don't think Mrs. Khan or Miss Khan is a different race, but she's certainly of Pakistani ethnicity. So it's quite interesting. I always find it more interesting what people who have left Islam or who have a better understanding even than myself know about Islam, and I think it's always good to listen to them. A Pakistani woman living in the UK says her culture is regressive and has held her back more than anything she experienced in the UK. Thank God for someone saying it. So this is in the Daily Mail online. So she's on the lady on Loose Women. Loose Women's panellist was born and raised in Derbyshire of a working class immigrant parents from Pakistan and administered Kashmir. She insists she encountered no significant social barriers while growing up with her family on a council estate. The presenter, who was raised a Muslim, insisted her biggest obstacles have come from within the Asian community itself. I honestly, as an Asian woman, it's my Asian culture that is trying to hold me back more than any racism I've faced. That is my truth, she wrote. Zahira previously announced she no longer a practicing Muslim after feeling guilty and caged and unhappy. And I don't think she's alone. I know lots of great Pakistanis and Muslims as well. In fact, the majority of the people who were Muslim that I met in the Middle East were absolutely fantastic. I loved them. Great bunch. And there is varying degrees of religiosity in what you adhere to, and there's obviously different types. I didn't have any problems with any Muslims in the Middle East, apart from the Pakistani taxi driver, but that was a one-off in 4 years of being there. So there was no issues that I actually encountered with Muslims or people who were Muslim in the Middle East. I loved them. I thought they were great. In fact, I'd probably go down to Saudi Arabia. As Winston Churchill said, on an individual basis, they're absolutely fantastic. Some of the nicest people I've met. The issue is not them as an individual. The issue is obviously the ideology. And as we can see, Miss Khan has come to a similar conclusion. Guys, I just wanted to go through that. I hope you enjoyed that. I agree, Sharia law banned in all the UK and most teachers are left wing anyway, yeah, and they're teaching this critical race theory. Oh, sorry, here's your guy again. God encouraged the murder of pagan children and infants. More Bible quotes are hounding Catholic politicians about this. No, didn't think so. Well, I don't believe in the segregation of children by their denomination in Scotland, but God encouraged the murder of pagan children. Are Catholics killing pagan children? Are they doing that? I can show you things in the Quran that they're doing today. Imagine telling the wife, it's not about, if they weren't doing the things that were in the Quran, then there wouldn't be a problem. There wouldn't be an issue, but they are doing it today. So they're not extremists, they're literalists. They literally believe that the Quran was the word of God, and they were actually meant to enforce what is said literally on a case-by-case basis in the land, which would make us a demi. It would make, if you were an atheist, a death penalty. If you were apostate, you would you would have the death penalty, stoning for disobedient women, killing homosexuals. These are all passages that today, not a way back then, today, Sharia compliant Islamic societies have implemented and implicated. They were wanting, the Sultan of Brunei was wanting to stone gays to death until there was an outcry, which is taken directly from what's in the Quran, Hadith and Sunnah. The Bible also says anyone carry the father and mother. So does any of these, show me a working example of these passages today being put in to play? Where show me a Catholic, show me anybody who's taking the literal aspects of these passages that you're saying in the Bible and doing it today. I can show you 11 or 13 to 10 to 13 countries that kill homosexuals as a death penalty. I can show you in Mozambique today that sex slaves are being taken. The Yazidis, sex slaves again. Slaves in Libya today are being taken. Not some fanciful passage that nobody's actually implementing. Somebody who's saying they want to chop the head off a teacher for blaspheming for showing a cartoon today. Not way back then, not in your some verses that are not actually relative to anyway. Show me somebody, tell me somebody who's putting that passage, anyone who curses the father or mother, be put to death. Who does that? But I can show you the literalist in the Quran. Does that mean all Catholics believe you should be killed for swearing at the payments? No, but it does mean that there are literalist, what they describe as fundamentalists, but I think it's literalist implications of the Quran into society. So it's not the same. You're not comparing. You're comparing apples and oranges. That doesn't happen. Yes, you can be killed for homosexuality. Yes, you can be killed for apostasy. Yes, you can be stoned to death in certain countries for adultery today. So they know what it's about. So we've already seen 50 mass murder attempts. We've already just gone over a thing about Muslim terrorists today. We've seen 50 mass murder attempts since the 7/7 bombing in London to today. 3 people were killed, gay people were... No, 7/7 bombing in London to 2015, I think the article was, 50. And so that's another 6 years that they didn't cover from 2015, which the article was taken up to. So there's even more now. So none of the things that you're saying are correct. You're just trying to spin a yarn on the back of this. No, that may say in the Bible. Nobody's implementing that. They are implementing the things that are in the Quran, the Hadith and the Sunnah. Sharia law should demand, laugh out loud, you value the use of your legs. You won't suggest it. You won't suggest it. Imagine telling the wife to walk behind you in public. Well, I mean, there shouldn't be separate schools for religion or gender in the UK. Causes far too much trouble. I agree with that. So I'm going to leave my baby gorillas. I just thought I would go on to this just now and obviously have a wee chat with you, because obviously they're mucking about with whatever they're mucking about with now. So they're obviously just want to prevent communication, prevent speaking. So I'm going to love you and leave you. I still got on here.